When you sign up to serve your country, you expect danger to come from faraway places. You expect enemies to wear uniforms. What you don't expect is to come home and realize the biggest fight you'd face wasn't overseas. It was waiting quietly in your own neighborhood, wearing a smile, holding paperwork, and living inside your house.
I've been in the Army most of my adult life, long enough that distance feels normal and silence feels loud. You learn how to miss birthdays without showing it, how to watch funerals through phone screens, how to pack pieces of your life into memory because you can't carry them with you. My home in Texas wasn't just a building. It was the one place that didn't change, no matter where I was stationed. My father and I built parts of it ourselves. Every board, every creak in the floor had a story. That house was where I reset between deployments, where I remembered who I was when the uniform came off. Before I deployed, I did everything right. I notified the HOA, paid my dues ahead of time, asked my neighbor to keep an eye on the place, set up cameras, locked every door. The HOA was already annoying back then. Letters about weeds being half an inch too tall, emails about mailbox colors, but nothing that suggested they'd ever cross a line like this. To them, I was just another homeowner who wasn't around much. Overseas, life becomes simple. Wake up, work, eat, sleep, repeat. You don't have time to worry about what's happening back home. You trust that the life you left will still be there when you return. That trust turned out to be my biggest mistake.
The call came on a normal afternoon. Nothing special. Just another hot day, guys joking around, metal trays clanking in the mess hall. My phone buzzed, and I saw my neighbor's name. He's not the type to call unless something's wrong. That alone made my stomach tighten. He didn't waste time. His voice was low, careful. "Eli, I need you to stay calm," he said. Those words never lead to good news. Then he paused, like he was choosing the least damaging version of reality. "There are people living in your house." I laughed at first, a short, confused sound, asked him to repeat it. He did, slower this time, more clearly. "Kids in your yard, cars in your driveway, new locks on your doors." Everything around me faded. The noise, the heat, the voices. It felt like someone had reached inside my chest and turned the volume knob all the way down. I asked how long. He said about a week. Asked if he was sure. He said he watched them move furniture in. That's when the anger started. Not explosive, not loud, just a slow, heavy pressure, like gravity had doubled. He told me the HOA claimed the house was unattended property, said they'd rented it out temporarily for community use. No calls, no emails, no notice. I hung up and just sat there staring at my phone, trying to understand how reality had rearranged itself while I wasn't looking. Once I could think again, I started making calls. HOA voicemail, HOA email, nothing. Finally, my neighbor sent me screenshots from the community bulletin. A post from the HOA president talking about responsible stewardship and temporary housing solutions for the good of the neighborhood. My house was never mentioned by name, just described as unused. Unused. Like it wasn't my life sitting behind those walls. Then came the part that made it personal. The family living there wasn't random. They were related to someone on the HOA board, a cousin, a brother-in-law, someone connected. Suddenly the language made sense. Community program, temporary use, best interest of property values. Words designed to sound legal, charitable, harmless. They never tried to reach me, not once. No certified letters, no emergency contact, nothing. Because they didn't want permission. They wanted silence. Silence makes things easier. From where I was, thousands of miles away, all I could do was read those messages and imagine strangers sitting on my couch, opening my cabinets, treating my home like something borrowed from a library. And the HOA kept posting updates like they'd done something noble, like they were heroes for filling an empty space. That was the moment I realized this wasn't a mistake. It was a decision, made calmly, voted on, signed, and justified by people who believed authority meant ownership. And the worst part wasn't the house. It was knowing they thought I wouldn't be able to fight back. I called the sheriff's office from overseas.
My hands were shaking, even though my voice stayed steady. The deputy was sympathetic, told me he understood, told me it sounded wrong. Then he told me the truth I didn't want to hear. I had to be there, in person. They couldn't evict anyone based on a phone call. They couldn't act without seeing documents themselves. So I waited. And waiting overseas is different. There's nowhere for the anger to go. You can't punch walls, you can't yell. You just carry it. Every night, when things went quiet, my mind went home. I imagined them touching my things, changing things, laughing where my family once sat. I kept doing my job, because that's what you do. You compartmentalize. You stack the anger neatly in a corner and promise you'll deal with it later. But it doesn't go away, it sharpens. By the time my deployment ended, the anger wasn't loud anymore. It was focused, clean. I didn't want revenge. I wanted my life back.
When my boots finally touched U.S. soil, there was no celebration, no relief, just purpose. I made 3 calls, guys from my platoon who'd seen me at my worst, guys who didn't ask questions when my voice sounded different. I told them everything, the HOA, the house, the family, the lies. There was a pause after I finished. Then one of them said, "Say when." That was all it took. 2 days later, before the sun came up, we were driving toward my place. No music, no jokes, just the road and the weight of what was waiting. This wasn't a raid. It wasn't a movie moment. It was a correction. As we pulled onto the dirt road, the sky was still dark. My house appeared slowly, familiar and wrong at the same time. Lights on, curtains closed, smoke from the chimney, like it was alive without me. I stepped out of the truck and felt the ground under my boots. That mattered more than I expected.
Toys were scattered across the yard, bright plastic against dirt and grass. A minivan sat where my truck used to be. A hammock hung between my pecan trees like it had always belonged there. The porch light was on. That light used to guide me home. Now it felt like it was guarding something from me. We stood there for a moment. Nobody spoke. I needed to see it, to let it register. Anger rushed up fast, but I forced it down. Losing control wouldn't fix this. I walked up the steps. They still creaked in the same place. That hurt more than I expected. It meant some things hadn't changed, and that made the rest worse. I knocked.
A man opened the door wearing one of my old flannel shirts. That was the first thing I saw, like a punch that didn't bruise but still hurt. He looked annoyed, confused. "Yeah?" he said. "I'm the owner," I replied. Something flickered in his eyes. Recognition, then confidence. "Oh, you're that guy. HOA told us about you. Said you abandoned the place. We've got a lease." I stepped inside, not forcefully, just deliberately. He tried to block me, then thought better of it when he saw my friends behind me. The living room was rearranged. My photos were gone, my flag folded wrong on a shelf. "This is my house," I said again. He crossed his arms. "Take it up with the HOA." That's when I knew. He believed the paperwork more than the truth. We called the sheriff. He arrived fast. Same one I'd spoken to months earlier. He took one look at me and nodded. The man handed over the lease. The sheriff read it, then read it again. His expression changed. "This isn't valid," he said. The man's confidence collapsed. "What do you mean?" "I mean you were lied to," the sheriff replied, "and so was the county." He explained the investigation, fraud, forgery, abuse of authority. The HOA was already under scrutiny. The man looked at his family. Fear replaced pride. He nodded slowly, started packing. As they left, the house felt hollow, violated. I walked through every room, picked up my things, put them back where they belonged. One of my buddies handed me my folded flag. He didn't say a word. That moment mattered more than any argument. When the door finally closed behind the last box, the silence wasn't peaceful yet, but it was mine. The investigation exploded. Other homeowners came forward. Similar stories, different houses, same lies. Warrants were served, board members arrested. Karen, the HOA president, tried to talk her way out. Judges don't care about speeches. The HOA dissolved. Authority stripped away. The neighborhood exhaled. Justice wasn't loud. It was quiet. It was locking my own door, sitting on my porch, watching the sun fall. But I still think about how close it came to being permanent, how easily power took something that wasn't theirs. So I'll ask you, were the tenants victims? Did we go too far? And if this happened to you, how far would you go to take your home back? Let's talk.